Last month, I purchased an Xbox Series S. I was already the owner of a PlayStation 5, so my decision might seem confusing, but I didn't purchase it to play any Xbox exclusives like Halo and Gears of War. My decision was driven by Microsoft's love for their retro titles. More specifically, those 7th generation Bethesda classics, now in glorious 60 frames per second. And so far, my experience has been, well, we'll say nostalgic. Now this video is about a specific title, but I do want to briefly talk about the Series S. The console is incredible for the price. I spent 250 Canadian dollars, which is about 200 American, on an open box console that was essentially brand new. To put that into perspective, I spent over $700 on the retail price for my PS5. And of course, the performance on the PS5 and the Series X will be better than the Series S, but I don't think it's worth the 2 to 3 times price tag that you're gonna find. The Series S is a beast, easily beating any PC close to that price range, and not seeming to struggle with any games I've been playing. The console also allows you to download apps like RetroArch, making it an emulation king. But this video isn't about the Series S, it's about my time revisiting one of the most important open world RPGs, the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. Now, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion is definitely my most played Bethesda title, and honestly could be my most played game of all time, because this game was revolutionary for its time. And while Skyrim is the game that brought the Elder Scrolls series to the masses, I will always have a soft spot for Oblivion, much like people who grew up with Morrowind tend to favor that one. Starting with the good things, the performance was so solid that I felt like I was playing a remastered version of the game. The beautiful colors in the game pop like never before. Textures are way sharper, and the game doesn't struggle at all to hold a consistent 60 frames. Well, it was released in 2006, so that makes sense. Xbox has notoriously done a better job with backwards compatibility than PlayStation, and these 7th generation games are the real difference maker. PlayStation's CEO, Jim Ryan, famously stated, "Why would anybody play this?" when talking about old retro PlayStation games. And this quote really stands out when trying to play a PS3 title and having to stream it. It's obvious that when it comes to gaming, no one wants to stream. Look at the downfall of Stadia. No matter how good your internet is, there are always going to be some inconsistencies. This is why being able to download older titles to the hard drive is so important. Enough with the ranting though. The game starts off with a roughly 1 hour long unskippable tutorial, pretty much like every Bethesda game. During this tutorial, you get to determine how you want to play the game by choosing a race, your favorite skills, etc. I really like how when you choose a race or even a class, you aren't stuck playing the game a certain way. Sure, you'll have an advantage in certain skills early on in the game, but you're not forced into playing the game any specific way. On my first playthrough, I chose to be an orc purely based on cosmetics, but primarily focused on using magic instead of wielding a blunt weapon. There are obvious metas like Bretons and Argonians, but other than that, the races all feel pretty much even. The leveling up system gets a lot of hate, but I love it. Its simplicity makes it great. If you want to be able to jump higher, you simply have to keep jumping until your acrobatics skill increases. If you want to conjure up a badass monster, you conjure up a bunch of weak ones over and over again until your level is high enough to conjure up a strong one. It's a bit grindy, but the grind always feels like it pays off. And on top of the performance being fantastic, the game itself is still really, really good. Albeit, you have to have a decent sense of humor when playing the game, as some of the dialogue is absolutely ridiculous.
Stop right there, criminal scum! Nobody breaks the law on my watch!
And if I didn't grow up playing it, I might feel differently, but it definitely still has a very compelling and entertaining storyline worth experiencing. The game is also so full of content that if you do enjoy it, you can get hundreds of hours of joy, whether it's playing through a cool side quest or just exploring a random cave. there's always something new to do. Top that with the expansion pack, specifically Shivering Isles, not the one that gives you horse armor, and you have nearly endless amounts of gameplay. Now, although Oblivion is one of my favorite games ever, not everything is good. In fact, some of it is really, really bad. This game is so full of glitches, it's almost comical, and while a lot of the glitches don't do any actual harm to the game, some of them completely break it. I'll tell you a story about when I first purchased the game back in 2007. It was originally only released for the Xbox 360 and for PC, and I had a PS3. So when the game first released, I could only play it when I was visiting my uncle who had an Xbox. Once the game got released on PS3, I immediately went to GameStop to purchase a copy. After putting in over 20 hours of gameplay, I was playing through the Dark Brotherhood questline, which is notoriously one of the best questlines. And spoiler alert, but in the questline, you have the option of becoming a vampire. Now, 10-year-old me, not knowing the pros and cons, thought, wow, that sounds pretty cool, and decided to do it. I quickly regretted that decision, as my character was unable to go outside in the daylight without taking damage. Luckily, it wasn't a big deal as there was a quest to get rid of the vampirism, or so I thought. At the last part of the quest, you are required to bring bloodgrass to an NPC to turn you back into a human. The problem was this quest was completely broken for the PS3. No matter how much bloodgrass you had in your inventory, the NPC would simply not register that you had any. This led to the quest being unbeatable, meaning you had no way of removing the vampirism. So 20 plus hours into that playthrough, I was forced to start a new game if I wanted to be able to go outside during the day. Now that vampire quest has probably since been patched, so here we are nearing the end of 2022, and during my Series S run through, I was met with another game-breaking bug. During the very last quest of the Thieves Guild, you are tasked with stealing an Elder Scroll from the Imperial Palace. Pretty awesome sounding, right? Well, the problem is, this quest has about 1 million little steps you have to do in a specific order. One of the last steps of the quest has you pretending to be Celia Cameron, so one of the blind moth priests brings you the Elder Scroll. The problem is, if anything goes wrong and the blind dude realizes you're not who they thought you were, the quest breaks and there is no way of completing it. The even bigger problem is, I didn't realize this until after I gave my identity away to that blind moth priest and overwrote my previous save. This made the quest 100% unbeatable for me on this playthrough, resulting in me not being able to get one of the best items on the game. Nostalgia. So the reality is, this game is incredibly entertaining, loaded with content, and occasionally broken. Now, I've beaten the main storyline multiple times and I still recommend playing it. Just don't be like me and make sure you have a backup of your saves. In fact, save before starting any new quest and don't overwrite that save until the quest is actually successfully completed. It sucks that you have to continuously do that to get through the game, but take it from someone who has broken their game twice, it's extremely frustrating to have to start from the beginning again. And while it is annoying to have to do that, I still recommend giving the game a chance because the high points are that good. The memes are that good. The dialogue is that good.
Come on, run while there's still time. The guard still holds the road, but it's only a matter of time before they're overwhelmed.
Now, just like all my retro reviews, I'm going to be giving away a copy of this game. This is the anniversary edition of the game, so it's a steelbook. It's got 3 discs, all the DLC. It's a pretty loaded package. It's a great way to experience the game for the first time. All you have to do is like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Help me out, and there will be a link to my store in the description, so if you'd like to help out the channel, you can make a purchase there. Thank you guys for watching.
Have a good day now.